After reading through your bio, I wanted to start in two places, kind of. Firstly, what seeing the film Rocky meant to you as a kid, and then how terrible that advice from your high school tutor was. So let's start with Rocky and kind of why that movie hit you so hard.
Well, I was a basket case as a kid. I had ADHD, dyslexia, a stutter. My mom talked like Don Rickles, so I try to imitate her, and I just stumble over my words all the time. I never had any success in anything. I had a lot of physical issues. Only the success I had as a young kid was being funny, and making fun of myself or others. So then, when I saw the movie Rocky, I said, "Here's a guy like me." He keeps on failing, but he keeps on trying. He's funny. Only the difference between this guy and myself is that he was physically fit. So I said, I'm going to be physically fit finally. I'm going to be like Rocky. So I worked out every day, and by the time I was 16, I became a physical fitness trainer, and I was like, oh. And I had a lot of success with that. People was like, how'd you do what you did so fast and all that? So I said, I got two successes. I can make people laugh, and I'm a physical fitness trainer at the Nautilus gym, where I grew up in Encino, California. So then I told my high school tutor when I was graduating, she goes, what do you want to do? I said, I want to be an entrepreneur like my dad, who was he made a lot of money and he lost all his money. He grew up a New York homeless street kid, but he never finished the 8th grade and he made a lot of money. So if he could do it, I could do it. So I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'll be an actor, a stand-up comedian. And she goes, you might want to work with your hands because not everybody's meant to do what they want to do. And I was like, well, screw you. My dad was multimillionaire. And he lives in a van now, but, he made a lot of money and he didn't finish the 8th grade. So the day after I graduated high school, I start my own business. It's selling tools on my telephone outside of my bedroom, and made 2 sales within like 45 minutes. And then I didn't sell anything for 2 weeks. And it's summertime and everybody's going out. And I was like, I folded the business. I said, this is not right for me. I'm not going to sit in my room forever.
Right.
So then I went to junior college and I studied drama, business, and psychology. And within 6 months, I decided, I'm going to do stand-up. And I brought a lot of people in. So I said, if I could bring a lot of these people in, how can I make money from these people? Well, stand-up comedy is not like a huge moneymaker, But dance clubs in the late 80s in Los Angeles was a big thing.
Huge.
I said, I'm going to promote nightclubs. And within 6 months, I became the #1 nightclub promoter in LA at my age bracket. And that opened up the doors for me for a lot of things. It helped me become an actor. And my first acting role, like a year later, was playing Dirk Diggler in the Dirk Diggler Story, which eventually became the movie Boogie Nights, which I appear in as well. I became a filmmaker from there, and
Right.
a lot
And
of
how exactly did
contacts.
that happen? Was that just meeting people throughout the nightlife industry, and they're like, "Hey, we might have an extra role. We might have this," or like you went in audition? Like, what was how did you basically move industries?
This is a really good story. So my friend Bradley Craig, before I started promoting clubs, when a year before this, I saw him in a movie called Stand By Me. He had a bigger part in that movie. And I was like, fuck, I said, look at all those credits. I said, if I just knew some of those people in those credits, I would be able to be in a movie like Brad. So about 6 months later, I'm on the set of a movie called Lesson Zero. I'm playing an extra, and I'm hanging out with this really good looking guy for 3 days, and he's an extra. And later on, cut forward, it took me, I realized that I was hanging out with Brad Pitt, who is funny.
A really good looking extra.
Yeah. And I got it wrong because I told my friends, I'm like, this guy's so nice. All these guys come out from the Midwest and they don't never make it, and I was like, okay. So then like 6 months during that time, I'm promoting my nightclub, and I didn't know who Peter Guber was. And there's a reason why I'm telling you this. And I started dating his daughter. She liked me a lot, and I liked her, but I didn't know who he was. He turned out to be the most powerful man in Hollywood. He produced, at the time, just as I was dating her, he produced a movie called Rain Man. It won the Academy Award that year. They were going to invite me to buy the Academy Awards, but I was just started dating her. So around this same time, my girlfriend and her sister was dating a guy. His name was Paul Anderson, now known as Paul Thomas Anderson. And he was struggling. He didn't have a car. And he's like, somebody drive me home. I said, I'll drive you home. and he was just 17 years old, and I was on a roll. I had, you get on a roll as a stand-up comedian. You're like, somebody laughs at one joke, you're like, oh, there's a second one. And the whole drive home, I got him in stitches. 2 days later, he calls me up, says, hey, do you want to be in this short film I'm making? It's about the rise and fall of a porno star. I haven't fleshed it out yet. I don't have the name, but, do you want to do it? I said, yeah, I'm in.
Sure.
So after we did some other funny videos, about 6 months later after that, we made the Dirk Diggler story. And that's basically through promoting nightclubs and meeting those people, met more people, and just constantly, I'm a workaholic. So when I promoted nightclubs, I went out 7 nights a week to promote my nightclub, and I went out 7 days a week to promote the club.
Right.
And, that was really a launching pad for meeting a lot of people, making contacts, which enabled me to make my own movies, and produce my own stuff. I would never say I never really clicked in over to Hollywood. I got close to a movie deal by making one of my screenplays, but I had already produced my own, which forced me to make my own business again, to be an entrepreneur again, because I worked in film for 5 years.
Right.
But that actually, all those people I met, it almost helped in indirect ways, help me with my business. So that's pretty much like how I was able to segue into those things.